bracket number 3 on that, please.
I'm Timsi Japuria from cnbctv18. You announced a very lucrative new tax regime with changes in tax slabs. A lot of new changes are there in the income tax side, on the revenue side, and in the speech you mentioned that revenue foregone will be around 29,000 crore rupees, whereas government will now try to mobilize around 30,000 crore rupees. What will be these revenue mobilization measures, and from where do you think this foregone revenue will be recovered? If you can highlight, where are you foregoing the revenue and where are you going to recoup this revenue from?
First of all, it is not just because we've mentioned it in this budget, but the attempt to widen the tax net is something which we've been repeatedly saying, that India's tax net will have to be widened, whether it is in the direct taxation or indirect. Second, there are also now the PSU dividends which are improving because their valuations have gone up really high, and their performance is also now substantially increased. So revenue mobilization is not just tax-based, you have non-tax revenue mobilizations which are also coming up. Then we have, for almost now 3 years, been talking about asset monetization, which is not selling of assets, but optimum utilization of those assets which are lying in the form of underutilized stadiums or land which is available with PSUs which can be utilized for better purposes. That's a third one. Fourth, you're also looking at generating resources from newer areas. So in all those, the revenue is going to be mobilized better, and as a result of which the revenue foregone will be now made up for, is our expectation. We've said that in the budget. In my speech itself I mentioned it, and I'm sure there are secretaries who will want to add to it.
Ma'am, I'll give the details. 37,000 crore, 29,000 crore in direct taxes and 8,000 crore in indirect taxes. So 29,000 crore direct taxes primarily comprises of 3 taxes, which is the increase in the STT only on derivatives, which is only on futures and options. And secondly, the buyback tax, which is to be now done in the hands of the recipient. While on the one hand, it will rationalize the tax and be more equitous and fair, because those who should be paying the taxes, higher taxes, in the higher income groups, they will pay higher tax, and those who are in nil tax category or in lower tax category, they don't have to pay a tax or a lower tax. While it does that, at the same time it does bring in some revenue also, about 4,000 crore, and remaining about 15,000 crore should come from the capital gains taxes. On the indirect taxes, we are losing, as I said, about 8,000 crore primarily on the reduction in duties, especially in wood. There is a huge reduction from 15% to 6%. And then there is revenue foregone because of the personal income tax rates and the standard deduction being allowed in the new tax regime.
280, please. Thanks, sir. Please. Give the mic.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Survi from Business Today. Ma'am, the angel tax has been abolished, which is a very welcome move. But just wanted to understand that one of the things the angel tax was also doing was checking money laundering concerns. So could you explain how these will be taken care of now? Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad to hear it is welcome. You've been raising this issue, as with many others outside of media, also saying, are you considering it? Although it was introduced during the UPA government, and it was introduced in 2012. 2 years had passed, and since after that, when we came in, we tried keeping as a good governance principle, government being a continuum, the tax continued. Although we tried giving carve-outs for startups and also making it simpler, bringing parity for the non-resident Indians, the way in which they've been treated as opposed to the Indian investments and so on. Today we've announced that we will indeed remove it. Exactly the details, Sanjay, would you want to elaborate on it?
Yes, sure, ma'am. So we should be aware that this is actually a tax measure. It's not really a money laundering issue, but money laundering issue was being tackled through a tax measure. So first of all, I want to clarify that this tax, there are other provisions in the income tax itself. First of all, to find out the source of these funds. Number two, there is already the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, which continues to be in existence. So if there is money which is being laundered, money being paid as a bribe, or for use in other purposes for terrorism, etc., there are enough laws, including the the Nyaya Sahita, Bharatiya Nyaya Sahita, and the Prevention of Money Laundering Act to take care of those issues. While on the other hand, now some genuine money for investment, actually there is this deterrent provision no longer exists, while provisions for money laundering remain, and they should be sufficient to cater to it.
I would add that there are also certain provisions of the Companies Act which can be invoked if there is deliberate undervaluation of shares. So there are other legal remedies. The balance here is between preventing money laundering but accidentally also preventing investment. So that balance is what we are seeking to get it right.
211, that's it.
Hello, ma'am. Prakash Pedashi from ET Now. My question is, will the increased STT be applicable from April 1 or prospective? And if from April 1, will there be retrospective tax calculation for the increased amount?
It's not retrospective. It is with effect from 1st of October 2024. So we are giving sufficient time for the exchanges and the people who collect this tax to put their systems in place to be able to collect it. It's not retrospective, it is prospective.
13.
Ma'am, Karishma here from Business Today. Congratulations to you and everybody. Ma'am, my question is on this special assistance to Andhra Pradesh and Bihar. 15,000 crore is the number that you've given for Andhra Pradesh for this financial year. Is there further assistance that you are looking at, or is it going to be need-based in terms of the amount?
I've already mentioned in the budget speech that 15,000 crore is coming through the multilateral development assistance, which we borrow from the multilateral banks, whether it is World Bank or ADB or AIB, whatever. And I've also ended that paragraph by saying further assistance will also be extended.
Okay, well, that's the finance minister. We'll keep going back to the